Hello everyone, I am Fiends Tremaine and this is going to be my review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But first, if you haven't done so, please take a minute to subscribe. If you have hit that subscribe button, I really do appreciate it. You enjoying the social media experience with me. I'll also have my links for Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And I've upped my Instagram game up. I posted like 30 pictures a day. So if you want something naughty and nice, you may want to follow me on Instagram because I do post a lot of naughty and nice things on there, especially today. So, anyway, this is the Real Housewives of Atlanta review, and it was okay. I would say it was probably a good episode. Still missing Nene. I'm still missing the sort of like the trashy rowdy queen, drama that we would have gotten if Nene was on this trip. I could just imagine her, instigating and commenting on this ratchetness that was going on this trip. So basically, it started back on the boat where Kenya was being very disrespectful to Glenn, snapping at him, called him young buck, just like, looking like a thirsty ass cougar, all the kind of shit she was doing. And he's looking there like, bitch, I've seen the show, fuck you. I want nothing to do with you. And it seemed like the more he didn't want anything to do with Kenya, the more Kenya was aggressively pursuing him. And he just wasn't feeling her. When she finally realized he wasn't feeling her, she really got in her feelings about it. I was actually on his side because I've been in a situation before where I've had people all over me that I really didn't want, anywhere near me, and they just get really aggressive with the shit, and you're like, bitch, please, fuck away from me. So I can understand his attitude. I don't drink. I've never drank before, but I can understand alcohol compounding that, and he kind of reminds me of somebody I know now who like pops pills. When he pops pills, he kind of turns into Glenn, but he sort of mellows out with a bunch of weed. So he kind of was giving me that pill popping weed-ish vibe. And I just found out that this particular friend pops pills because he tells everybody he does now. But I hope he does better. I'm talking about my friend. I hope he does better. I know he's got some depression issues and things like that. I've been thinking about the best way to talk to him and get him to maybe, rather than Papa Zanny or whatever, give me a call. Let's talk about this depression issue you've been dealing with, because I've dealt with depression on and off, and drugs and alcohol doesn't fix depression. Talking about it, knowing somebody cares about you, being there for you, listening to you, all these different things, giving you advice. These things pull you out of your depression. But drugs and alcohol just makes the shit worse. And alcohol is depressant. It's not something that makes you excited and happy and jumping up and down for joy. It may take away your inhibitions, but at the same time, I used to be a paramedic. Alcohol is depressant. Okay. But back to the show. We got thirsty ass Kenya, and then Portia. Whenever you're with a group of friends, never ever play a game like Never Ever or Truth or Dare, unless you're trying to fuck. If it's a sex party, okay, fine. You can play Never Ever, or if it's a sex party, you can play Truth or Dare, because y'all all freaky and y'all going to do some extra shit. But when this is just a bunch of people and you're on camera, like, do we really need to know that Sheree and Portia have had golden showers? So kind of makes you look at them a little differently. I mean, I'm a freak too, but it's like, I didn't need to know that. So Kim at that point couldn't take it anymore, and they showed her on her phone calling her kids and her husband, and she's talking about, how did the kid like the SpaghettiOs? So I'm like, you don't belong with the show. You come off as a good mother and, a good wife. And this show destroys relationships and families, and it's about drama. And Kim doesn't give drama. Kim avoids drama. Kim sees the drama coming and goes to get herself a hotel. So they turn it up at the house that they're in. And so Kim like, oh no, this is too much for me. I could understand with Candy left being pregnant, but Kim, you know, go to your living room, close the door or whatever, you know, have security not let anybody in or whatever. But Kim like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Um, but she left just I think it's either before or after Glenn's blow up. Glenn finally Kenya was like, now Glenn I was trying to be on his side until he started fucking with Candy. You know, when he snapped at Candy, I was like, she minded her business. Kim, Cynthia, and Candy were minding their business when Glenn came over, I guess, to chat with him or something. And they were sort of like nice. They weren't mean or nothing. The only person who was really feeling Glenn and he seemed to be chill with was Sheree. You know, but since she's not a major cast member this season, you know, we didn't get a whole lot of what Sheree and Glenn were talking about, just showing that they were just chilling at the pool and enjoying each other. And I think Sheree could have got it. You know, I think Kenya couldn't get the dick from Glenn, but I think Sheree could have got the dick from Glenn. And eventually, you know, Kenya's like, I need him to go because he's being aggressive and he's making people feel uncomfortable. And when he's told that he has to go, you know, he kind of blows up and then he starts walking towards Kenya. Kenya starts running. Security jumps in. And, you know, he has to literally be dragged out of the house because at that point he does become a security risk. And later on, you know, Candy and Phaedra, I think it was Candy and Phaedra, started talking about, you know, black men and how Kenya doesn't have a son and all of the different things that's happened with Sandra Bland and Mike Brown. And, you know, how you've just got to really be careful the way, almost like the betrayal of black men, because they feel like that Glenn was unfairly, you know, like sort of like tossed out and sort of like instigated. And because we're not there, we only know what is cut for entertainment. We don't know all of the details that happened in that house with Glenn. We don't know if girls were saying the wrong thing to him, cutting their eyes at him, really pushing his buttons so that he would have a reaction. This is reality TV. They do this shit all the time. So they want him to blow up. I mean, there's a reason why security is there. It's because either the girl's going to pop off or the guy's going to pop off or something's going to happen. So I can't really give an honest, like, you know, point blank, you know, Glenn was wrong. You know, he was wrong for his aggression, but I feel like it was fueled by alcohol, maybe pops and pills or something. You know, it was like, you know, I feel like if they had just said, look, the girls are going to bed, we're shutting down for the night, you know, guys got to go, Glenn would have been like, cool, left. You know, but when they're like, they stay, but you get out. You know, he felt targeted and he lashed out verbally. He never really hit anybody. Well, he knocked Tammy over. Like, when Tammy was sort of like, she like jumped in the way to try to stop him. He pushed her. She fell. And it was like a bad soap opera where a person falls. Like, I don't know if you watched Bold and the Beautiful, but there was a dumbass fall in Bold and the Beautiful where Ivy tripped on nothing and was knocked unconscious. And that's what it reminded me of Tammy. It was like he pushed her, she hit the floor, but was she unconscious because she's on reality TV? She's trying to give us something extra? Was she unconscious because, you know, was she faking it? You know, they said, you know, she went to the hospital, they called the paramedics, but I didn't see her hit her head or anything like that. It was like, bitch down. She was obviously high as fuck, and it wasn't weed. It wasn't alcohol. Tammy looked like it might have been prescription. I'm not saying she's a drug addict or nothing, but it might have been prescription or something. But it seemed like she had some downers or something that had her behavior odd. And I think that Kenya should have been able to really feel for Tammy in this situation because, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Kenya was the one who was made to look crazy as fuck. I mean, Y'all remember that when Kenya and everybody's talking about Kenya's bipolar and she offered meds and now she's sort of like bullying. I hate to use that word because it's overused, but making fun of Tammy because of her odd behavior instead of saying, "Hey Tammy, what's going on? Is something okay? Are you on medication? Should you be mixing this medication with alcohol? Pull it to the side." But they're like, "Let this bitch be crazy. It's good TV." So whatever. Um, so they had the big blow up, and then they had cell phone, of like Tammy coming back to the house. And when Tammy came back to the house, and this is why I say she was probably on something, she was in her hospital robe and hospital gown and hospital socks with a coat on, looking like an escaped mental patient. And she's sort of like standing there awkwardly, and then, I think it was Candy or whoever opened the door, or Shamea, one of them, opened the door for her, and when Portia, I think Portia did, and she didn't want to open the door all the way, and you could hear Tammy say, "Are you kidding me?" Like, as if, why are you acting like you don't want to let me in? And then you saw not Glenn, but Glenn's friend with her. And, so they called security and had Tammy put into a hotel. So, I mean, I don't know what Tammy thought she would get out of the show because I know a lot of the supporting cast is not paid. Like, the husbands aren't paid on the show. They're doing this shit for free. But Tammy isn't doing herself any favors by being on this show. Whatever reputation she had, they are fucking it up really well. So Kim talks to her husband. She's back in town while the girls are still partying in Miami. Kim is talking to her husband, and she's like, it was a mess, and he's like, you gotta protect. He didn't say these words, but essentially he was saying you gotta protect yourself, protect your brand, and if you feel something ain't right, you come home, which is what she did, and I like the fact that they're a unified front. I like the fact that she acknowledges that she's a literal housewife. Because these other people, they're not married. Kenya and Portia are not married. Sheree is not married. Half these chicks with peaches do not have a husband. So Kim, and also, we know Portia used to be married, but now, Portia is single. And somebody else mentioned that Portia, is now a thought. She went from Stepford wife to thought. I actually thought Portia did a good job. A lot of people bitched about, Portia being sort of a Stepford type wife. And I'm like, she was doing what she was supposed to do in a lot of ways. Like, before you go to the strip club, you may want to call your husband and say, hey, are you going to feel some kind of way if I go to a strip club with all these naked men, gyrating on me and waving their dicks in my face? He's either going to say, well, you're on a TV show, nothing's really going to happen, it's cool. Or he's going to be like, no, come home, like Kim's husband, protect your brand, don't put yourself out there like that. Hell, you can go to a strip club off camera. So a lot of these single bitches and single women, I should say, and a lot of these women with marriage problems, are like interjecting into Portia's marriage, which eventually ended in divorce. And, and now we see an out of control Portia where she's making up for lost time and she's in thongs or panties or bikinis or whatever. She called it a thong, but it's actually bikinis, where she was twerking and getting drunk and with this guy and that guy, and she's, being a sugar mama. So what's the better Portia? The housewife that's trying to convince her husband to have a baby, and maybe she could have kind of brought him on board eventually, or the Portia who's what Candy called the Queen of Thoughtland. Which one is better to you? Personally, I think that Portia actually was better when she was married. Now she's better for reality TV because she's turning it up. Even when she was twerking, a lot of people saying she was twerking for Oliver, her Latin, love interest on the show for these 2 episodes. But I'm like, Portia not stupid. Portia may be a little flighty at times, but Portia ain't stupid. Portia, came recognized game, and Portia was twerking for that reality TV camera. She was way away from Oliver. She's like, shit. They're gonna be talking about me tomorrow in the blogs. Hey, watch this. So I know Portia does what Portia has to do to stay relevant, just like her little fight with Cynthia. You know, it's a difference between when she dragged Kenya, because that was unexpected. You could tell that everybody was surprised, and that was real. Her fight with Cynthia, it was just all a part of the storyline, just a lot of other shit. It's all part of the storyline. And so there was no repercussions. They were good. Later on, the next episode, all was right with the world. But let Cynthia and Portia got into a real fight, they'd both be fired. Because then they would be putting the production in jeopardy of lawsuits and whatnot. Kim and her husband, they had a flashback. We were supposed to see them watch the show. It was in the previews, but it never happened. But we got them watching Kenya's show, and Kim's husband was like, we need to recast Kenya in the production. And, Kim just shaking her head like, this is so bad, But, Kim really needs to stay away from Kenya. She can't because they're on the same show together. But they eventually have a meeting where Kim and Kenya, they don't get into it like Kenya would with Portia or somebody. Because I think that Kenya, just like when she first came on the show with Nene, is a little scared of somebody who's got some shit going on. And Kim has been in the industry for so long, and she directed for Tyler Perry people. She goes to Tyler Perry like, do not put Kenya in anything, as a favor to me. Do not do it. Hollywood, life in general, a lot of times it becomes about who you know, in order to move to the next level. So I don't think Kenya really wants to burn that bridge right now. And finally, I'll just say Portia. They do make a lot of cuts to make Portia look like a bot. She's just fucking everybody because she just fucked Duke, supposedly. And then now she's got Oliver, and they made it look like her and Oliver fucked because they went to her bedroom and cut away from them. But based on subsequent scenes, we see that Portia wasn't even comfortable getting a kiss from Oliver. And she came home alone the next day. So I don't know if they just literally cuddled or the cameras went off and he went home or what the deal was. But obviously, Portia wasn't getting that vibe like she gave him some pussy. So Portia is all over the place. But hell, if it wasn't for Portia this season, this would be some boring ass shit. Kim Fields is not giving us reality TV drama. Kenya really hasn't really found anybody to really fight with. Cynthia had a brief moment, and we're really over this Cynthia Peter drama. Candy hasn't fought with Todd or anything like that. She's just been pregnant. Sheree isn't the main cast member, so she's just like a supporting player like Marlo or somebody. And, Phaedra, since her husband went to jail, what has Phaedra done? Phaedra just been there. I like Phaedra. I want her to get a storyline. But Phaedra ain't done nothing. Out of the 6 girls, the only person who is turning up and causing the most drama is Portia. Period. So without Portia, this season would be, crazy. It'd be just boring as hell. People would be turning off in droves. But at least Portia has been at the center of all this drama, and right now Portia is the main person that makes the show. As far as having a storyline, what she's doing, whether it's an over-the-top party for Duke or whether it's twerking in a bikini. So Portia, good job. You're now the MVP of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And that's my review. Hope you liked it. This review is actually longer than I thought it would be. But hope you liked it. Once again, please join me on social media. Don't forget to subscribe. Like my video. I'd appreciate it. Definitely subscribe. I need more subscribers, so I really would love if you subscribe to me. If you already subscribed, I thank you very much. I appreciate you. Like I said, check me out on Instagram. I do a lot of foolishness on Facebook. So if you just want to have, a Facebook friend or follower, somebody just have some fun and some interesting posts, My Instagram post just got turned up. And now I'm just going to work on this LinkedIn, Twitter shit. And I think all my social media base will be covered. You know, I'm not up the level of Snapchat and shit yet. So I ain't there yet. Or Periscope or none of that. So oh, and I'm big on Tumblr. So I do a lot of shit on Tumblr. Except on Tumblr, you know, I can actually show nudity and shit. So, so on Tumblr, I turn up on Tumblr. So that's it for now. I hope you appreciate this video. I appreciate you, and thank you for watching.